After my mother turned 85, she would say to me just after each New Year's Day, "I wonder if this will be the year." That question was answered nearly a decade later during the Easter season of 2013. My mother and I had just finished Valentine's Day lunch at Suzanne's in Ashland when I noticed her breathing was labored as we returned to the car. 6 weeks later, she was in Memorial Regional Hospital in Mechanicsville, having spent the interim at home and out and about with oxygen to facilitate her failing heart. Finding herself in the hospital, even after the continuous supplemental oxygen, she concluded that at 6 weeks shy of turning 95, she was ready to experience what God had planned for her on the other side of earthly life. So, she decided to return to her cottage where she lived at my sister's home, where she would be under hospice care until the end. It just so happened that our children and grandchildren had planned a trip to Florida for Easter break. Actually, I think Jenny, my wife, and my daughters, Sherry and Wendy, did the planning. But everything was set, except for the goodbyes. We had discussed and prayed over the decision on whether to go or not, and we were given peace to go to Florida. On March the 30th, the day before the 97th anniversary of my dad's birth, and the day before Easter 2013, we all gathered in Granny's hospital room to say our goodbyes. Because Rose was only 1.5 then, I don't think they let her come in, but many of the other family members were there. I don't remember much sadness that day. She just shared the day with her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. Another dose of peace. I, along with a couple of my siblings, stayed with Mom until she was discharged that evening. When the ambulance transportation crew arrived, I accompanied Mom and the crew down the hall, down the elevator, out to the awaiting vehicle for transportation to her cottage, some 30 minutes away. As the crew fastened the gurney in, Mom said, "I guess I'm going home." I took it both ways. More peace. The next day, after Easter service, we headed for Florida. While we were there, my sisters kept us informed of Mom's declining condition. Late Friday night, I got a call from my brother. She was gone. Yet, I knew where she was, so that gave me peace. A week later on Saturday, we celebrated Mom's life at her church in Richmond. It was perfect. All the kind words I heard, all the sentiments spoken from the heart, all the spring decorations and flowers surrounding us gave us true serenity and peace. And the day wasn't over. We packed into our cars and drove east for an hour to where I call my home place, where I met my bride in the 6th grade, where I graduated high school, to the little community called Laneview. There at the church I was baptized into at the age of 12, Glebe Landing Baptist Church, which was constituted 4 years before the Declaration of Independence was signed, and where my father already rested. We experienced a second joyous service before we went out to the cemetery to lay Mom to rest. Here's a picture of me carrying Mom's ashes in a blue Tiffany's box to her final resting place next to Dad. This picture attests to the true peace I was experiencing. Thank you, God, for the Spirit's calming, peaceful presence then. The most peaceful point of the day came after I laid Mom's box in the earth and each of her great-grandchildren filed by and placed a handful of earth on the Tiffany's box. How do I know I was experiencing God's peace through all this? I've experienced this peace many times in critical points of my life. It has mostly occurred in Christian context, I was born in a Christian family. I've been involved in my church my entire life. I've been steeped in the triune God my entire life. At age 73, you know that God is intentionally speaking to you. My advice, get involved in or stay involved in your Christian community and become steeped in God so that you have more opportunities to experience the peace that passes all understanding.